There are many notable Scots, from scientists and inventors to architects and literary greats. One of these was Dr. James Lind, the father of naval medicine. James Lind was born in Edinburgh on 4th October 1716 to James Lind, a merchant, and his wife Margaret Snellam. Educated in the city, he was apprenticed to Surgeon George Langlands in December 1731. After around 8 years, Lind decided to head to London to find work in medicine, and in 1739 he joined the Royal Navy, where he was appointed surgeon's mate. He went on to serve for 9 years, during which time he was involved in patrols of the English Channel, the Atlantic Ocean, and the blockade of Spain in the 1740s, as well as serving in the Mediterranean, and off the coast of West Africa and the West Indies. He witnessed a huge typhus outbreak that affected the whole fleet, and kept records on hygiene and disease that broke out on the vessels. At the time, the sailors' lot was a harsh one. The food was poor and lacked nutrition, and ships unsanitary, causing outbreaks of illness and disease. This in turn led to poor discipline. By 1747, Lind had risen to become ship's surgeon on HMS Salisbury, which patrolled the Channel. On 20th May that year, he carried out his first experiment on scurvy, and this would be one of the first controlled clinical trials in the world. He chose 12 seamen aboard the ship who were affected with putrid gums, the spots and lassitude, with weakness in their knees, and divided them into 6 groups of 2. He placed them in a proper apartment for the sick in the forehold, where they were given a common diet, that being water gruel sweetened with sugar in the morning, fresh mutton broth oftentimes for dinner, at other times puddings, boiled biscuit with sugar, etc., and for supper barley and raisins, rice and currants, sago and wine, or the like. He supplemented 2 of them with citrus fruit, while the others were given vinegar, elixir vitriol, nutmeg, cider, and seawater, which in reality he'd already discounted. It was clear those who'd eaten the oranges and lemons made a better recovery. He later wrote, "The consequence was that the most sudden and visible good effects were perceived from the use of the oranges and lemons, one of those who had taken them being at the end of 6 days, fit for duty." It didn't completely clear up the scurvy in that time, but went a good way to doing so. The reason these 2 recovered so quickly was due to scurvy being a deficiency of vitamin C. He had conclusively established the benefits of citrus fruit above all other remedies, in particular lemons and oranges. He was aware of George Anson's circumnavigation of the globe, and when he returned in 1744, he only had around 130 men on board, having left with over 500, most of whom had died of scurvy. The main problem was preserving the fruit, as it spoiled, so he looked for ways of preserving it for the long voyages at sea. In addition, lemons were an expensive commodity. Lind retired from the Navy in 1748 and concentrated on writing his thesis on venereal diseases, which gained him his degree from the University of Edinburgh Medical School. And subsequently he was granted his licence by the Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh. 1748 also saw him marry Isabella Dickey, and the couple went on to have 2 sons, John and James. He set up his practice in the city, but continued to work on scurvy, which resulted in his first treatise on it in 1753. This would be his seminal work, a treatise of the scurvy, but his discovery wouldn't be implemented until many years later. In his treatise, Lind dismissed the theory that sea salt caused the affliction. He had previously experimented on 2 men with very putrid gums, swelled legs, and contracted knees, giving them half a pint of salt water daily for a fortnight, and found them not in the least worse, but found them in the same condition as those who had taken no medicine whatsoever. By the time he was on the Salisbury, he turned his thoughts to climatic conditions, dietary requirements, and so on, although again he experimented with the salt water, but dismissed them following his experiment with the citrus fruit. It took until 1795, the year after Lind's death, until the Admiralty finally issued a daily allowance of 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice to each man on board a ship, thanks to the efforts of Gilbert Blaine and Thomas Trotter. The incidence of scurvy diminished immediately. Blaine wrote that it was now proven oranges and lemons prevented scurvy, and that this was first ascertained and set in clear light by Dr. Lind. Many sailors added their daily ration to their tot of rum. However, by the mid-19th century, the government looked for cheaper fruit and turned to limes, but they were much less effective on scurvy. This led to the sailors becoming known as limeys. Lind returned to England in 1758, where he was appointed chief physician of the Royal Naval Hospital at Haslar, Gosport. By 1760, he had treated over 1,100 men with scurvy and recorded his findings. He had further works produced not only on scurvy, but also tropical diseases and hygiene on ships, advocating the men take care of personal hygiene, be better disciplined, clean the ship, as well as eat more healthily. He retired in 1783 on a large pension, but remained in Gosport, where he died on 13th July, 1794. Lind is also noted for the distillation of fresh water from seawater, as although ships could acquire fresh water when they docked, it was often undrinkable due to contamination. He formulated a way to make the water safe to drink. He also published an essay on the most effectual means of preserving the health of seamen in the Royal Navy in 1757, which looked at the dreadful living conditions on ships and the poor diet, and in 1768 published an essay on diseases incidental to Europeans in hot climates. This summarised the diseases in each colony and gave advice on how to avoid catching infections in those areas. If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for watching.